Good evening, King's Academy. My name is Lindsey Vawter. I'm joining you today from Nashville, Tennessee, here at the Irish Guard Invitational on October 9th, 2021. I have the distinct honor and privilege of being able to adjudicate you in the area of auxiliary color guard, and I look forward to doing so as soon as you're set up. In the meantime, I want to wish you all the very best of luck, and I hope that I can provide you some valuable commentary that you can use as you continue your fall season. With that, I'll let you all set up, and I'll be back with you when you're ready to go. All right, here we go, y'all. Oh, very much appreciating the exhibition of flexibility from the performer with the color guard. Yeah, and really interesting visually, adding in those additional layers. Okay. Very well done with the round off and some of the front walkovers and cartwheels. Nicely done. Really interesting costuming as well. Very visually appealing and working well with the band. Yeah, really good core strength development as the performers are moving into the ground, and then even through this plank position there with the leg up and over and then reaching up. Really strong. Good for you. Yeah, nicely done with those. Oh, really well done with the comprehensiveness of that movement with the band. Really good with that lower body consideration and attention to that plie at the very end. Good for you. Okay, watching this kind of develop into a gradation of speed with some of that choreography, good reorientation of the body, and then the fluidity of that prayer toss going into some of these more individual moments here, working really well to reintegrate the entire ensemble into this moment here, using the ripple as kind of the vehicle for that. Nicely done. Okay, as you're slowing down the pace a little bit or slowing down the tempo, how do you continue to fulfill some of those moments? It seemed like it was a little bit of a more unresolved moment in terms of the music, and I don't know if the work was quite as musical there as it had been in the past, but certainly understanding that they were slowing down and working through that good through the tertiate with the performers. You definitely are giving them a lot of variety when it comes to both their equipment work and their lower body contributions into the flat toss, and the staging is definitely providing a little bit of variety as well. Okay, watch the timing on some of those releases when you're working through the silk toss, and then as the performers are continuing to redevelop, I'm watching their feet as well, and some of the tempos get a little bit faster. So certainly as they're traveling through space, that is the best vehicle and the best tool they can use to keep tempo with the drum major, or well, not with the drum major, but with the band generally. Making sure that they can maintain that tempo, and it will directly impact and translate to their equipment work. Okay, utilizing the flyover fabric. Okay, so some challenges there with the flyover fabric kind of leaning a little bit to one side, but certainly the environmental challenge of the wind being difficult. The color guard members that are kind of coming forward and readjusting, certainly you don't want to take away the attention of the flyover fabric, but once the flyover fabric has kind of come to that final resting place up here at the front, and it's completed its flyover, then there's an opportunity where maybe they can take a little bit more attention away. They kind of came out, and the vibe I got was they were portraying a little bit of moodiness, a little bit of confusion. And I'm not sure if that's what you were going for. Oh, okay. Oh, really nicely done, and giving them that little individual opportunity as well. But what I was saying was, it seems like it's fun now, but, just making sure that the performers are all consistent with the way that they are understanding and then performing and executing the character itself. Oh, under the leg, really well done. Again, you're starting to create some real interest in what you've given them from a choreography standpoint, even on the ground there, and then they're even rolling. You're harking back to that core strength, but that symbiotic relationship between the body and the equipment, as opposed to them being separate thoughts. So good for you. Yeah, there are some moments where they're of sustainment that I don't know all of the performers are fully recognizing. Just a simple reach to the audience, da-da-da-da-da, and then they kind of can travel back. I don't know if all the performers were quite as committed as maybe one or two of them. So that's going to be, your continuing development with your young performers and those that aren't quite understanding that, to really benefit from those that do understand it and allow them to be kind of the leaders and the show and tellers, if you will, of those moments, so that the rest of the ensemble can start to fully understand. Watch the turn out of the feet just as they're in that front lunge and the resolve and very exposed moment there at the end with the swing flags. Really nicely done, working through the split with those swing flags themselves. Okay, and then kind of working to the center there with the color guard member again. There were two moments now between two different songs where we kind of brought the focus to the center. So just being very mindful of that, of trying to, you've created a bit of a stage with the tarp in the back or with the prop in the back. So understanding you might want to keep it a little bit more focalized towards the middle. But, how do you continue to create a little bit more visual interest and variety in what you're offering from, not only from the color guard, but also visually as a comprehensive package. Yeah, well done with the dexterity and wrist flexion of the performers with the rifles. Yeah, what you've really been intentional about is kind of adding in those lower body considerations, but that they're not competing with the equipment. So they're definitely supplementing and supporting what's going on versus competing. And for that, it not only provides clarity from the performers, but it also allows for them to be able to achieve. And certainly through those vertical tosses, you can tell that the performers have a very strong technical foundation to be able to support the choreography as well. Really nicely done with this cannon here.
To read this segment here, it's kind of all speaking from the middle range here.
Yeah, I was letting that moment develop for a moment. Some of the performers do get a little bit lost because you have the tail end of that ripple or cannon kind of developing outside the band, and the other ones are definitely fully integrated, so kudos to you. But you do lose a little bit of that nuance and detail just because as you're watching it continue and to develop, you look back to the center and you don't really know. You have to kind of find Waldo, if you will, right, in the massive band members. So just keeping in mind how you continue to provide the clarity there, so you don't lose the color guard, because it is such an interesting moment, and it really does give the band a moment to shine, but also the visual interpretation of that music a time to shine as well. Yeah, and then obviously this is probably a bit unfulfilled, so that's going to be a work in progress, and really, really well done. Those are some very sophisticated choreographic choices that you've chosen, not only with the equipment but also with the lower body, and yet the performers seem to be very, very confident and very strong in understanding what's required of them. There were some moments where there were maybe some timing things. The silk toss comes to mind, or some of those more advanced skills or skills that are a little bit more exposed. But certainly they have a very strong basis, a very strong foundation of technical training to help support it all. The suggestions that I made throughout really had to do with clarity and really making sure that what's going on further supports what's happening visually, because I think that's where you're really going to see the growth. Again, the performers are so strong that I don't know that certainly there's always more achievement you can work on and making sure that the timing gets better, but certainly you can start to think about how do you continue to tell your story the best way possible. With that being said, the other thing I would say to the members is certainly related to the character. I understood the character, and I think the performance and the carriage is there, but I didn't always understand the story you were trying to tell. So how do you continue to do that by way of the color guard and as a whole, as a band? That's going to be kind of the next challenge for both the members and the staff, and I really encourage y'all to dig in, because that's a really fun show, and I look forward to hopefully seeing it again as you continue to progress. I hope my comments were helpful. I wish you all the best of